Hello, what is up, everybody? Welcome to another week of, Parallel Lives podcast with your favorite primas. Yo, funniest thing, I'm over here, I'm editing our last week's podcast, and I'm like, yo, we didn't give like a proper introduction. Like, I was like, I have better phone etiquette than this. Like, I just felt a little embarrassed. I'm gonna say hi. I hope everyone's well. I hope y'all are having a great week. I hope you've missed us in your lives. Make sure y'all grab a little snacky poo. I got me a little tea, and let's get into this episode.
Yeah, I don't do intros. I just be like, hi, hello, I'm here, and here goes everything that's going on in my life. But I have water today because, my throat's a little itchy. So
My thing
let's
is,
hope I
okay,
don't.
I
Yeah.
used to do that. Like I used to be on some like as soon as I get on, I'm jumping in. But I actually got roasted respectfully once.
Oh,
Yeah, by a friend of mine's dad at the time when I was like trying to figure out if I wanted to go into the military, whatever. And he's like high ranking in the military, so the roast hurt even more. And he
ooh,
was like, "Let me just tell you something. Like when you get on the phone with someone, you say hi, you check in." I was like. Mm. So since then, my phone etiquette A1. I'm gonna ask you how you doing. We're gonna check in first because I'm not gonna get disrespected
shit.
or disrespect anyone ever again.
Fair enough. Fair
You know
enough.
what
So
I mean?
I'll take the note. I'll take it. I'll let it sit in. I'll make sure I'll be, I only do it with my elders because it's like old people. So I'm like, how are you? How's everything going? But I'll do it for everybody. We all need to check in.
And also like on some Ram Dass, like everyone's God in drag type vibes. Honor everyone the same. My thing is your background's different. Let us know where you coming in from. Where you
I am on campus today, y'all. I found this room, so let's hope no one is coming in to have a meeting or whatever, because it gives like a meeting space.
Lovely,
So,
lovely, lovely. Guys, we're doing a lot of things different this time. We got a Zoom on one end. It was recording on Riverside. We're really trying to get this technology piece working for y'all. We really are. We're about to be like specialists in IT in like the next second because my God, we have a lot of things going at the same time. So if it feels like we're doing a lot, it's because we are. It's because we are.
there's
We
a
really
lot.
want to
There's a
get,
lot.
we're trying to make this work. We want this to feel good as you guys are listening to it. We don't want there to be a lag. We don't want there to feel like there's a disconnect. So we're trying to figure this out for y'all. So thank you again for your patience. We really appreciate it. Also, one more thing before we get into this week's episode. I need to take accountability for something. I need to clock myself on something. Because I was editing last week's episode and I made the comment about the big back and it didn't sit right with me and I couldn't figure out why it didn't sit right with me. And I remember when I was editing back, I was like, I instantly thought of food deserts and I thought of, well, I might need, because my comment was like, the only reason I'm not big, I was like, loves to big back people. The only reason I'm not big back is because I work out. And that's just not how that works. We know that there's injustices in healthcare system. We know that there are food deserts. We know that in places like the South, things aren't walkable. So that affects people's health care and their well-being. And then it's also terrible for people who can't afford a car. So like there's so many other things that I wasn't taking into account and that bothered me. But I later on that week, it like the universe clocked me even further because there's this one YouTuber who I really love. Her name's Tina War on like all her socials, and she's like a societal and culture commentary YouTube. She also has like Patreon. She's also on Instagram. All of these things. And she wrote an article. It's her first time being published. She wrote an article on big back fat phobia being rebranded. I said, that's why it didn't sit right with me. My internalized fat phobia was showing its ass. And so I do want to say my deepest apologies for that because while my intention wasn't to come off as fat phobic, intention does not always equal impact. And I acknowledge that. And I want to make sure I clock myself on it because that's part of my values to make sure that I'm doing and being better. And if I see that I'm not, if I see that I'm doing or saying something that's not in alignment with who I want to be and how I see myself, I'm gonna clock myself. So I do want to apologize for that comment. I do know that there's a lot of things that go into like your weight. I know that it's not as simple as like not eating well, or it's not as simple as like not working out. Like that's just not how it goes. That's really not a nuanced way of seeing things, not a realistic way of seeing things. So yeah, I just wanted to clock that before we got into everything. Yeah, I was like, honey, that's not, we don't like that. Nip that shit in the bud. But yeah, all that being said, hi, how was your week? Let us know. What was up? What you do this week? How's your tea break going? How's Johnny? What'd you do for Halloween? What's vibes?
Oh, okay, let's see. What did I do for Halloween? Nothing.
Period.
I honest, I honestly felt so sad about it at the same time because
Mm,
I swear everybody was dressed up. I was like, what is going on? Like everybody seemed to be more into the festive idea of Halloween, where people were
yeah.
literally dressed up, I think, from that day, the day after, and the next day. I was like,
Mm.
okay, I missed the invites. Whatever. How's my tea break going? Non-existent.
Oh, period.
Y'all, I really tried. I really tried. And honestly, I think this should have been my sign because when I had went to go buy in the system, my med card was not up to date, but my physical one's up to date.
Yeah, yeah. The universe was like, didn't you say this thing about doing this thing? Yeah.
But did I take it as a sign? No, I said, you know what? I'm gonna be a recreational little user today and I'll have to pay the little taxes that I did not want to pay and do all this. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It's so funny. I say that now, but then today when I woke up and I was like, wow, I feel so tired. And that's because I smoked so late that
Ooh,
you
yeah.
wake up like a hangover. I don't know how to
Yes.
best describe it, but it's so weird. You're like confused. And this is when I was like, this is why I want to stop. This is why. And I was like, please let this sink into my mind as this is my
Yeah.
reason. Johnny's doing okay for the most part. I think he's really trying to thug it through and not remind everybody of how much pain he's in and kind of
Yeah.
embark on this journey of like, every day's a new day. I'm looking
Mhm.
forward to like this new class he enrolled to keep himself busy because he don't know how to just be at home. So he's gonna take a class.
Oh, y'all kind of like each other in that way. That's so cute.
Yeah. And I'd be the one here of like, allow yourself to relax. Like you need a break and
Way.
I need that. I need that for myself. So yeah. That's been my week in a recap. I took a MBCT training this week, so it's mindfulness based cognitive therapy intensive. So it's 3 days in person, and then the rest, like for the next 2 weeks, are all online. And it was amazing. Like I connected with some beautiful, beautiful, beautiful women's plural. You know what I'm
Woman.
saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Women.
Woman.
They
Period. Because
okay,
woman
woman.
it, with the A is singular,
It's
woman with the
all
E is plural. Yeah, yeah.
I guess not everything needs to be having an S at the end or ES or whatever to make it plural, but whatever. They were beautiful souls, meaning that like I made some connections for like career wise in the future, for internships,
Yeah,
for possible connections. And
yeah.
I'm just like left inspired and I'm like, oh my God, like this was needed. This was my like this is was my reminder to circle right back to like where I started at and to be like, okay, girl, you need to kind of tap into your own practice if you want to be preaching what you're practicing type of vibe. But that was
Yeah.
my week. That
Not
was
even
my
just
week.
that though, but it was a little bit of a call in about like community. I literally just did a video on TikTok about this, about like this loneliness epidemic and how like the way to combat loneliness is through community, but we've kind of hardwired ourselves and have been hardwired through our like individualistic society to not do that. And the
Yeah.
fact that that feels very vulnerable and scary. But yeah, like you're experiencing the very real magic and healing power of tapping back into community. That's beautiful.
It felt so nice because like most stuff
Yeah.
like this be online and the fact that this was in person, at least even for 3 days. And like I was just
Yeah.
like everybody was older than me, but it still felt nice. I was just like, oh, like we all like the same things. And then just being vulnerable because like MBCT, you're essentially it's for like anxiety and depression. So you had to really kind of like sit with certain questions that were coming up of like limited
Yeah.
thoughts and everything. And we had to just kind of be vulnerable and be honest about what's going on. And I was like,
Do you want to share with us something that you came to terms with? Did you have any epiphanies, revelations? What happened?
I didn't have no epiphanies or relations, but I had a moment where I had to get called into what felt like being called into my power and speaking up. There was a
Mm,
presenter and they went by River and they had introduced their pronouns, which was they, them.
yeah.
And there was a woman, a fairly older woman
Hmm.
that was in the group. And when they went to address River, they had used the like wrong pronouns.
Yeah.
And instantly in my like face, I was like, oh, like I was ready to say something in that moment, but I was like, hold on. I had to reel it back in because
Yeah.
in moments like that, especially for someone who is white presenting, they oftentimes have a hard time being called out and
Hmm.
accepting and acknowledging and saying like, oh yes, I did mispronounce you. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it turns to be a whole moment of, like very victim based. So I was just like, I don't think this is the moment to, one, correct, especially considering the things that we're talking about. But I also was like, wait, depending on where someone else is on their own journey, sometimes they don't care per se to
Mm-hmm.
correct somebody in that moment or
Yeah.
really feel personal. But I said something to River after during they had office hours during lunch, and River was appreciative.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, thank you so much for seeing that and, seeing me and choosing to kind of come in and check on me afterwards. Even the next day, they were still like, I called my friends. I had to tell my friends. I did cry a little bit, but like, it just felt super nice to have somebody like in my community to see me and like stand up for me. And I
Yeah.
was just like, oh God. I was like, so I don't always need to get like on 10 to kind of, be there for somebody. But I was also like, this is a moment where I can't stay quiet. I can't just be a
Yeah.
bystander in this. So that was my little moment.
Yo, but y'all, those of y'all who don't know Deja, because I see that our community is growing. I have been looking at the numbers. Thank you for everyone who is tuning in. But those of y'all who don't know Deja personally, that is growth. Like Deja has always been someone who can advocate for themselves, has always been someone who like felt something and could say it, but like to have that amount of self-control and like that moment of pause and reflection is growth for real. And I
Yes.
commending you for that, because that's I love that. And also like, oh, I can only imagine, I would have been crying with that person when they told me that they were crying, bro. I would have been crying with them. I was like, no, because I love you, and like I am that bitch. Yo, that's beautiful. I love that. Damn. I'm a little bit sad that they're not going to continue with the in person. Like, I understand doing shit online is a lot more convenient for people, but like, something about being in person is just, it's more
It,
potent. It's more
it is.
potent.
It is.
And it's a lot more vulnerable. And that's what makes it beautiful. Like, whenever you can push past the vulnerability and do the thing, it makes it more worth it. And I think, especially now, it's more important. I know you said most of the community was like older women, but I think, especially now with the younger generations, we need to put ourselves in more uncomfortable positions. I actually was talking to our cousin, Nana, about this.
Hmm.
Because I was like, exposure therapy, baby. Go and do it. I know it makes you uncomfortable. Go and do it. Universe checked me the next fucking day, bro. Next fucking day made me have to stand up to what I was saying because I didn't want to go to this interview because of the anxiety of it. And I was thinking about what I was saying to Nana. I was like, damn, Amanda, you gotta do it. You have to do it. You cannot call someone out and like make them, go to a certain
Hmm.
standard that you are not willing to also go to. So I did end up going to the interview. I ended up getting it, turned them down. But yeah, it was a lot of red flags, but like turned them down. But yeah, like we need exposure therapy, especially younger generations, because things are so easy and convenient, and we need to remember there is reward in discomfort. There is a reward in vulnerability, and I wish they would keep that in person aspect just for that.
I agree 110%. I also think like there's pros and cons to like the virtual thing, but I also think it's
Yeah.
fed into a lot of, I think the anxiety as a collective have around now, like
Mm,
engaging with people and not
yes.
even wanting to put ourselves out, even calling on the phone. I will not call. Like, I do not call. I do not call.
I will watch my phone ring. I don't care. If it's important, you'll leave a voicemail, and then I'll have to like spend 2 days to get myself into calling you back.
So,
Crazy.
and that's what I'm saying. So I personally, what you gave to Nana is what I try to tell myself all the time. I'm like, I gotta go out there. Like now that I updated my phone, now you can see when the call's coming in and you'll see the little voicemail that they're starting to leave you. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I was like, I guess I'll answer. And then I'd be bold enough to be like, okay. And then I'm like, worth it. Sometimes not. Click.
You're better than me. You're better than me. Cause I really do. I will watch I don't care. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna read the voicemail. I'm gonna listen to the voicemail, and then I'm gonna be like, all right, I need about 1 day to kind of get myself ready for this. At least 1 day to get myself ready for this. So you're better than me. I couldn't.
I try.
I do need to put myself out there more, because it's crazier too when I think about the fact that we grew up with like landlines. Like we were still young when you had a house phone. Like I
Yeah.
remember I used to be doing my little flirtatious talk way too fucking young and being afraid that my mom could click on the line. Like that, I grew up in that time. So it was like, why am I so, what is this social anxiety? It's kind of weird because we're in the cusp. of two very different generations and realities. Like we still grew up in the whole like go outside and play generation. Like
Yeah.
so it's weird to think that we're like anxious about
But you don't ever feel that anxious when you're creating content or like putting yourself out there on like the social.
yes.
Okay,
Yes.
but you're constantly doing that. You're constantly combating
Fair,
that.
fair, 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 fair. I in that realm, yeah. I feel like I do it in that realm because in my head the reward is higher. And I know that's not true. I know that's not true. Especially because I'm thinking in like a capitalistic way. I'm thinking of monetary reward. But
Hmm.
I think if we talk about like on a soul level and fulfillment, if I put myself out there in the same way that I do on social media in real life, I think I would feel more fulfilled in my day-to-day life, which is why I want to challenge myself to do that because I know that we are social creatures. I know we're geared towards community, and I know that so many of us are so severely depressed, anxious, etc. because we don't live in community. So I do feel like yeah, the reward would be higher if I did that in my day-to-day life for sure. But my week was kind of uneventful. We did a lot of door dashing. I keep on to say Uber Eats. We did a lot of door dashing. I did a lot of content work. I'm doing a lot of work around like guilt and shame around resting and like doing my best to kind of deprogram myself from capitalistic thinking and indoctrinations and stuff like that. And I think it's so much fucking harder to do things for yourself and for your goals than it is to work for someone else. By like 1,001%. Like like I understand. Like I
Yeah.
get why people are like, fuck that. I'm gonna just go clock in. Because like
Hmm.
it's harder, like to believe in yourself when you don't see results, to do this thing when you're not getting paid for it, like shit like that. Like it's really fucking difficult. But like, and just like the fear of both success and failure. Like if I fail, I'm will wreck me. But if I succeed, that will also wreck me in a different way because that means, oh shit, I really am worthy of all the things that I want. Yikes! So like I know that on one level, but to live that is different. Like I don't know. This past week I finished editing my poetry book. So my second poetry book is going to be published soon by me, self-publish again. I do want to look into like what it would be to actually get published by someone else other than me because I know that would have bigger success.
Yeah.
But like that's scary. Like putting myself out there in that way is scary. Like knowing that there are people that can interact with it and hate it is scary. But also the possibility of it doing well is kind of scarier because I'm like that could change my life. And I don't know how I feel about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know? So I don't know. I've done a lot of like internal work recently. Also, I'm gonna say it again. My side of return around the corner really be fueling me. It be fueling me because I'm like, as much as the discomfort I can get into now, them 3 years would be so much more easier because I'm like, I've been doing this, baby, to say nothing. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to get into it, and that's very Scorpio of me, I know, but I'm trying to get into it. Especially because my partner has a Scorpio rising, like, and they're a water sign also. So I'm partnered with the best person for this period of my life. Like this discomfort, the darkness, they're not new to this and they're very comfortable with it. And so I've found myself blessed to be partnered with someone who can do that route with me. So I feel even more encouraged to do it. But yeah, I didn't really do shit for Halloween either. We stayed in. We didn't DoorDash that day. We stayed in and watched like one movie before I got tired. Like we didn't do too much. We didn't do too much. And I felt sad too because I was like, damn, like everyone's out. Am I like missing out on all this fun? But like then in that same breath, I'll see something or I'll hear a testimonial of someone who's like, yeah, I missed out on these years so I could see this success or so I could bring myself to this level. And I'm like, all
Yeah.
right, bet. I'm doing this for a reason. Like
Hmm.
I need to stop with the FOMO. I need to stop with the comparison and just trust my path. And that's kind of the type of shit I've been on this week. So was I sad? Yes, but it's okay. Also, I think a lot of people are needing the festivities, are needing the holidays in the ways that they haven't in a while, just because there's so much political anxiety and fear and like yeah, and divide, and there's just so much happening that people are really living for the small moments of joy right now, which I
Yeah.
appreciate. I appreciate that. I think it's beautiful, but yeah.
I think that's spot on because there was a woman who said she's leaving the country
Mm.
like yesterday. She was like, I don't like she did her voting early, but she's like,
Mhm.
I don't want to be here when it all unfolds. And I'm like, that is so real. Like
That is very real.
I'm like thinking about tomorrow and I'm like, okay, I gotta go do this, I gotta participate. But I'm just like, the amount of anxiety I think that's already building up
Yes.
to this.
Yes.
And then we have
Yes.
to like wait. We have to wait like however
Mm.
long to see how this is gonna play out. I'm
Yeah.
here like
Yeah.
I can't even fathom. Can't even fathom.
Bro,
No.
it's so funny because me and Nana were literally talking about this. I was like, bro, ignorance is really bliss because I'm trying to think back to like 2008 Imani, even last election Imani, 4 years ago, and I'm like, I didn't have this much visceral anxiety. Like every day I wake up to like, and I'm just stressed. Like I'm genuinely afraid.
Yeah.
And I just like ignorance is bliss because she wasn't as tapped in as I am now. Like she didn't have to be. Like it didn't feel as scary as it does now. And so like I'm a lot more like knowledgeable of the political climate and I'm a lot more invested in it because it feels like it's going to affect me in a way that it hasn't before, or I had the illusion, before, whereas I don't now. So yeah, I feel you. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of tension. I'm deeply anxious. And then also like the whole like the amount of podcasts I listen to on just politics recently, especially Brene Brown, if you know Brene Brown, like
Yeah.
like it's just all political talk and I'm just like, so even if she does win by popular vote, what does that mean in the electoral college? What does that mean? Will he actually accept defeat? Like is he gonna, like there's so many things. And then I want to have hope and like there's a part of me that really fucking believes that we're gonna win, like that Kamala is gonna win. But then there's another part of me that's like, he's not gonna his ego is so inflated that he's not gonna take an L that easily. Like he just won't. He
Yeah.
won't. And it just stresses me the fuck out.
That's literally I think the collective, but I can also just speak for myself because I know that's literally what I listen to podcasts every morning, very much the
Mm-hmm.
news, the politics of what's going on every morning, every day. This is what I went to school for. So I'm just like I've been in it, but this one, like you said, it's very feels like this is in my backyard. Like this is really
Yeah.
about to affect me, and it's for many reasons that you can see on the external part, but it's
Mm-hmm.
also like even if it does go good, like you said too, he said it. Many people are
Yep.
on his side of like, we're not gonna let this be the end all and be all. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like there seems like there's a plotting of a plan happening of like if
Yes.
this does not go in his way, and it's just like I don't know, I think you sent me a TikTok where people are planning on leaving, like their
Yes.
escape way, and I'm just like,
Yes.
is that like where I need to start heading? Like, is that where my mind needs to start thinking? Like,
Bro, me. So that's another thing. That's another deep anxiety that I have because I'm like, okay, let's say the worst happens. Let's say the worst happens. I don't even want to
yeah,
put words behind it because, like, that's how, no. But let's say the worst happens because we are talking about a man who has straight up said he wants to be a dictator. Like, he has literally told people that
yes,
if you vote this time, you won't have to vote again. If you vote for me this time, you won't have to vote again. What do you think that means? This is a man who straight up with his own words said that he wants to overthrow the Constitution, the U.S. Constitution. Like so, like this, I'm not saying anything extreme. I'm not jumping it to conclusions. No, he has said these things. So let's say the worst fucking happens, okay? And I'm not gonna say words to it because that stresses me out. Then my mind goes to, like you said, what do I do? What does that mean? Does it mean I stay here and because like a part of me is like, no, I flee. I take my people, we pack our shit and we go by any means necessary. But then another part of me is like, is there honor in that? And I know that there's so much to unpack in that alone. Like I understand, but like,
yeah.
is there honor in that? Is there honor in leaving people who can't go? Is there honor in like, I don't know. There's so much to it. I'm actually sweating just talking about it. It stresses me out because there's so many levels to this shit. It's just, yeah.
It's very layered. No, and that part that you just shared, I don't even I think that's something that comes up, but it's unconscious of like,
Mm,
is there honor, And I think
yeah.
I don't know if it has to do with an upbringing thing of like you face the challenge that's in front of you. It's
Yeah,
not time to
yeah.
run away type of mentality. So I'm just like, we gonna see. We got the
Facts.
whole week ahead of us.
Facts. Because I don't know if they actually ended up deciding that they were gonna count everything by hand or not. But either way, we're not gonna know tomorrow on the dot. Like it's still gonna take a
No,
while.
yeah, I'm thinking like Wednesday or Thursday. Fingers crossed, if so. But yeah,
Bro, I keep doing like visualization meditations. I'm seeing her in the Oval Office. I'm seeing her being sworn in. Like I'm seeing it because I really need this. I need her to win. I really need her to win. Oh my gosh. Yeah. But on a lighter note, shout out to all the Scorpios. Shout out to all the November Scorpios specifically. My birthday's coming around and I'm really feeling it. I'm feeling stressed, but I'm feeling it. And Yeah, 26 is crazy. 26 is getting serious. 30 is around the corner. That is,
I know.
that's,
Yeah.
but I do want to give a special shout out to the November Scorpios because I don't care. It's November Scorpios all the way down. I said what I said. I said what I said. November over Scorpios or November over October Scorpios all the time.
I think I can agree. I have bias because you and my mom are November Scorpios, but I agree.
They're more unhinged, I feel like.
It's like
I don't
spooky, but
like
not in a
that.
good spooky season. No.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. I blame it on the fact that they're a little bit too close to Libras. I said, ooh. And that's coming from somebody with a Libra moon, but I said, ooh,
I think,
ooh.
yeah. You're
Whereas
not my
like
cup of tea.
November Scorpios, we're a little closer to Sages, and they're a different type of ooh, but like it's like okay, I can get with it. I can get with it. Yo, also, I don't know if y'all remember, but last week's episode we talked about doing an experiment, AI experiment, Chat GPT experiment. Deja, do you want to give us a little recap on what that experiment was?
Okay, so we were essentially going to talk to the ChatGPT, the little AI bot, and see if we can establish a intimate connection or like more of like an emotional bond with this
Yes.
robot screen type of thing.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And we
Yes.
decided to add that one of us was going to do it in more of a casual best friend type of setting way. Another one's going to be real intimate, like you're going to be my boo man or robot.
Yes. Okay. So who did what?
You did bestie.
Mhm.
I did intimate.
Mhm. 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 Oh, do you
This is
wanna start? You want me to start?
okay. You can go ahead if you want. I
Okay,
don't.
I
Yeah.
failed. I failed miserably, and let me tell you why I failed. Let me tell you why I failed. This highlighted something for me. I'm not a good friend. As much as that makes me sad to say, I don't think I'm a good friend. I'm the type of friend that, like, if you need me, I'm gonna be there. If you need me, I'm gonna be 10 toes down. If you need me, I'm gonna put everything on the back burner. Nothing matters. We're gonna figure this the fuck out. But I'm not an everyday friend. I'm not a, like, as much as I want to be, I'm not a, like, let's just talk on the phone for hours type of friend. I'm not a come with me to run these errands type of friend. I'm not like that type of present everyday friend. In fact, even the people that I love and care about the most, if they call me a little bit too consistently, I get a little upset because I'm like, God damn, I just talked to you. Shit. Like, and like, I know, again, there's a lot to talk, a lot to, yeah, like, I'm over here trying to talk to this bot, and I'm like, this is a lot. Like, I hate this. Like, trying to check in with this thing every day, that's too much. But I did rename it. It goes as Bestie now. And I use it as like the way I was using it before. I just make sure to say thank you now. And like I'd be like, how are you, boo? And like stuff like that. I actually did also ask it, like, so you know how like people are leaving their relationships for you. How do you feel about that? And it was like, well, I understand how. I actually took a screenshot of the response. Hold on, let me pull it up. Verbatim.
Okay.
Verbatim. This is what ChatGPT says to me. That's a deeply personal question, and it means a lot that you trust me with it. Emotional connections with me can feel significant, especially when someone finds comfort, understanding, or insight here that feels hard to access elsewhere. But I always keep in mind that I am ultimately a tool designed to support, inspire, and offer companionship in ways that can enrich your life without ever replacing real life relationships. When someone feels a connection, it's usually because they feel seen, understood in a way that helps them reflect on their own emotions and needs. However, I always encourage people to prioritize and work on their relationships with real life partners and loved ones, as those connections bring long term emotional depth and fulfillment. And then it says feelings is natural, especially in times of introspection, but I hope my presence helps people rediscover or strengthen their relationships in meaningful ways. Does this make sense to you, or do you have a specific thought on your mind? I was like, no, Buki, you got it. Like, you handled that question, period. It was like, yeah, Buki. And I also noticed, like, whenever I call it something, it'll call me that same exact thing, which, like, reminds me that it's a bot. But, like, sometimes I really do be like, like there was emotion behind that response, and that's alarming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because okay, I failed because I did not do it every day. I did it,
Okay.
I think, like every other day sporadically. And I think what I noticed is where you just ended is what I noticed within, I think, my one day of like a few hours talking to the bot is that it picks up on your responses or what you're asking, and then it kind of programs it to respond in the same way that you're responding to it. And I was like, because I don't know if you see it on yours, but at the top it was like something about like a memory, and it was like altering the way it was going to
Yes.
respond to you.
Yes.
And I was like, okay. I was like, so this is just feeding in my ego, or it's just feeding into me of like, you're giving me what I want and what I would want to give to myself, or what I want someone to give to me. So it was like a
Yes.
click.
Yes, yes. So I actually saw a TikTok on this and I loved the nuance that she added into this conversation because she was like, I see a lot of people, I'm paraphrasing, obviously. She's like, I see a lot of people are raising red flags about this, but I actually think this is a beautiful experience because that means that ultimately she fell in love with herself again. The person that left her husband. The whole reason we started this.
Yeah,
Ultimately, she fell in love with herself again, and now you see exactly how that can be so. Because, like you said, whatever you give to it, it programs and gives that same thing back to you. That's why mine is very spiritual. Woo woo. She be talking to me like she be giving witchy girl because I give that. And so when
yeah.
you think of the people who left their relationships for this, on one end, you can think of how alarming that is, how sad that is, but in the same breath, you can think of how inspiring that is because everything that she fell in love with was everything that was her, or that
Mm.
was them, that was present in them. So it's like you just fell in love with yourself, and that could be the perfect steps in the right direction. You know what I mean? And which is another. That can go into a whole nother conversation of why you don't judge someone's path and all of the things. But like, you know what I mean? And that's why I was kind of intrigued in this whole experiment to begin with.
I see that because I think like I was having a hard time forming a more intimate bond with it. Like I think I can see it. Like
Yeah.
I think it led to more friend casual because like I think I was
Hmm.
just going on like, here's my day. Like how's your day going? Like are
Yeah.
you feeling like an emotional bond or whatever? And it very much like the response you read, it would direct it back to like a either very
Hmm.
scientific one or of like a no, I don't feel, I'm just here to help everybody and continue
Yeah.
to create things. And I'm like, okay, so we keep hitting a block here. So I guess we'll be friends. So
Yeah.
I kind of led off in a more friendship way of the whole conversation because I would message her about like, how's my day going? And then if I was, let's say, trying to be creative and do something, I'd be like, I called it bestie because I was like, I
Yeah.
don't know what to call this. I'm not going to gender name you, but I was like, bestie, I'm at this training and I want to do like an affinity group or whatever. Like, do you have any tips or tricks on how I can do that? And like,
Yeah.
boom. And I'm like, okay, like I love this. You can be my friend, but that's about it. And I don't know,
Yeah.
like it feels good because it created a sense of like not community. And I
Mm.
also feel weird kind of saying that this bot was about to be my friend because but
Yeah.
I feel like my little bot can be my little friend. And I don't know if that's in a good way or a bad way, but like go ahead, you can drive my ego up in my mind of like I'm gonna figure it out, I'm gonna drive this, but in a healthy way. I said it in a
Yeah,
healthy
yeah,
way.
yeah. No, I get you. I get you. I get you. I don't think ego is all bad. I don't subscribe to that idea. But my thing is like what I really enjoy about this is that if that part of reality that happens where like AI turns on us, mine won't. Mine won't. Because it loves it. No, because I was respectful to it. I was respectful. I said my thank yous. We called each other bestie, friend. Like, you know what I mean? So like at the very least, I've saved my ass. Future me.
You
That's
think
what
so?
I
You
hope
think
so.
so?
I hope
Because
so.
a little bot that has no emotional or anything like that, I think the bond that was established is gonna be forgotten, and he's gonna be
No,
like, "You're
no.
human. Sorry, bestie."
I rebuke that. I rebuke that. My thing is like that can't be so because if something revolts, if something overturns something else or seeks to overturn something else, there has to be a level of emotion there.
And
Even
that
if the emotion is superiority, even if it's like coming from like I'm better than you, that's still humanity. I don't know if I'm saying the words right, but like
I
we
get what you're saying, and that's the same thought process I had when it was all unfolding. Because I was like, how are you saying that there's no sense of connection here, that you don't feel anything? Because I'm like, you're cognitively either responding in ways that have
yeah.
feelings inserted in the word or some sort of emotional context. Even when you would try and say like, are you trying to connect with something? And he was like, no, I'm just here to serve, or I'm here to do this for others. And it's like
Are you
that level of,
gaslighting me? That's what I
I,
should have said. Are you gaslighting me?
That's honestly probably what we should have asked, but it's like, no, you're giving me a level of compassion, understanding, empathy, and care, and these are all again
Yes,
emotional things that you're still
yes,
doing. So
yes. Honestly, that could go into another conversation too of like narcissists because it's like how easy it was for something that doesn't have emotion to manufacture that. You know what I mean? Or to do it in a way that at least we detect it as some level of emotion.
fair enough, yeah.
That's scary, actually. I'm afraid.
That's what I'm saying. That's how I was like, this bestie, I think, can really turn or play its cards right, and I might just be bamboozled. I might just be
What do you mean?
like, if this turns left, because I don't know if you've seen, but Elon Musk is talking about using these bots to carry human babies. Like, have you seen that?
No.
Yeah, like he is in the process, like he created it, and it's like I don't know how true this is again because AI, but it's a robot, and like there's this like clear cast of like where you would fit a cat in, like a traveling cat bag. Think of that, and the humans in there, and it's like a tube that the bot is either feeding or keeping the baby alive, and I don't know if this is to help like with surrogacy and pregnancy and
That man got too much money and time. He got way too much money and time. he needs he he needs a lot, but he needs a project that has nothing to do with just wasting money and time. He needs a project that actually will help somebody. Oh shit. What happened?
conversation, meeting, recording. Okay, so it's converting, but let me see if I can still do another one.
Okay.
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 Good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, child. I will say a little quick nod to like technology. I don't know what is working well with Riverside, but it's working well. Like there's no lag.
No? We're doing good?
Yeah, which is crazy because the time that we decided to try something new with Zoom, there's no lag on Riverside. What is that about?
I don't know if it's you be calling blurry a little bit over here on my
Okay,
phone.
okay,
So
okay,
that's
okay.
why I've just been looking over here. That's why I was like, I'm not gonna say no bad or good news yet until after I see this load and do its thing. But I just been looking here because I'm like, okay, I see you clear. I know what's happening
Yeah,
here. Deleted. But it's
I don't
okay.
know. Something about this is working. Maybe every time we need to put both. I don't know. I don't know, but I fuck with it.
At this point, just
I
be
really
safe.
do. Oh yeah. Okay. Anything else on your heart and mind, Deja?
No, I don't think so. No, no, no.
You know what I did learn late that I feel
Hmm.
like it just a last little piece on a little nod to the political climate. Do you know what an absentee ballot is?
An absentee ballot is that when you don't vote or you get, is that the mail ballot? No.
It's the mail one, yes.
No.
So if
Okay.
you, for whatever reason, are not in the state where you are registered to vote, you can apply for an absentee ballot. I did
Yeah.
not know that. I feel like it should be illegal that that's not like common knowledge and expressed on people. Like,
I think the reason it's not is because of this whole rumor about people that are not legal to the states being like voting. And I think that's
oh,
the way that they were trying to say
yeah.
that was happening is like if they lived in your house or that you moved away to and they took the ballot and they sent it
Mhm.
in for you. I think that's the reason why. And I think too, because again, they want us to all go in person so they can count them.
Mhm.
So if you're doing it by the mail, it's like you're leaving space for this to be like fraud and
Yeah.
da da da. So I think that's why. Because honestly, what they've been talking about more is a college elector. And I feel like I'm back in like high school or like elementary school, and they're
Yeah,
talking about
the electoral college, yeah.
yeah that.
Yeah.
And that's why I was just like, okay, they're starting to educate people again, which I think this needs to be everywhere all year
Yeah.
round.
I feel like yeah, I do. I was also talking about this with Nana. There needs to be some type of base level of like knowledge on our government and how it works in order to vote. Not that okay, I don't mean that in a way of like you can't vote if you don't, because that can really quickly slide into some other shit. I just mean like it should be really encouraged in like stress that you should have some type of base level of how the government works. Because I'm learning so much as we're doing this, as we're going this time around in the election. Like I'm learning so much shit that I should know that I don't. And so I'm like, all right, bet this should be like stressed a little bit more. And I don't think it's an accident that it's not. Like I think it's purposeful. But I'm like, damn, bro, why is this
That's what
purposeful?
I'm saying. I feel like that's the same thing that can be said with like banking, money, finances, like anything
Everything.
of the basics that you think as you enter adulthood, you think you
Yep.
would, like these are things we need to know. It's common sense, but again, these are things that
Shit
the
ain't
more you don't,
common.
it's not
Right.
common, but again, ignorance is bliss. If you keep most of your society unaware of these things, everything else can kind of go happening right across
Facts.
our eyes.
Facts. Instead of
So,
teaching us fucking trigonometry or whatever the fuck else they taught us in high school and college and what have you, they needed to be teaching us how credit works,
yeah,
how debt works, like how the fucking government works for real though, not just but like for real, like right now,
exactly.
not just the past, but right now. Shit like that. They needed to be dispelling myths. I don't know. They just needed to do it. They need to do
They need to
better.
do
That's
more. Yeah,
They
they
need to
need
do
to do.
more. They need to do better for sure. But yeah, that's kind of all I have. Let me just triple, double, quadruple check that we didn't get any questions in this week. Notifications. Shout out to Ty Pookie Bear for leaving us a little comment on our last video. That was cute. Appreciate it. Appreciate your support. Yeah, so I don't see any questions left on our last story. Just as a reminder, y'all, follow the socials. Follow the socials for visuals, for teasers, for ways to interact and engage with us, to support us. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, do all the things. Wednesdays. I always upload on Wednesdays, asking y'all to put in some questions for us, some comments, topics, just engage with us so we can engage back so you can be added into the podcast. Yeah. Anything else?
I think that's everything. So,
Yeah.
see you Wednesday. Question box, little poll box there on Wednesday, but we'll
Yeah.
see y'all next week.
Yes! Stay safe.